Hey everyone and welcome back. I'm Nnamz and this is my review for Steamworld Heist on the Nintendo 3DS. Like with all my normal reviews, the graphics, sound, and gameplay will be separately scored, and then an overall score, which is not an average, will be given at the end of the review, which reflects my overall opinion of the game. Building on their Steamworld art style that was first displayed in their inaugural Steamworld Tower Defense on the Nintendo DS, Image & Form has crafted yet another beautiful 2D game in their trademark tone. Steamworld Heist, the third game in the Steamworld series, is definitely the best looking game in the trilogy. Characters are detailed, but more importantly they are varied and interesting to look at. They look dirty, gritty, and full of life. Each one of them has a story to tell just by looking at how their bodies are coupled together. And this is further complemented by the fact that the characters are nice and big on the 3DS screen. The animations in the game steal the show, as each character and enemy have unique movements and attack animations which really bring them to life on the 3DS screen. The game runs well for the most part, with only small instances of slowdown in the later levels. But since Heist is a turn-based game, it hardly hinders the playability or the enjoyment of the game. Steamworld Heist is pretty, has fantastic style, and is definitely one of the prettier indie games on the platform. The graphics get an 8.5 on 10. The importance of sound and music really can't be understated for turn-based games. Without the distraction of constantly having to be engaged in frantic action and execution, the sound effects of a turn-based game really stand out. So this is why I'm content to report that the sound and music of Steamworld Heist are both very good. You are introduced to some of the overworld and battle themes fairly quickly in Steamworld Heist, which is great given that the ones at the onset are probably the best in the game. To match the art style, the songs seem to be a mix of western showdown style music with some electro style percussion and beats thrown in here and there, and it just fits. The game also made use of some excellent great licensed music from the band Steam Powered Draft. I won't get into spoilers, but their use of the band in that game is really neat. As mentioned, the sound effects are great. Weapons all have unique sounds and sound very satisfying when fired. The characters in the game are not voiced. Normally this wouldn't bother me, but I do feel that given how unique and interesting the characters look, and given how funny the dialogue is at times, it would have been great to actually hear them speak. Having said that, at the very least the characters have unique chirping sounds when speaking to help differentiate them. The overall sound in the game is quite good and certainly helps the experience. The sound gets a 7.5 on 10. Steamworld Heist is a tactical turn-based shooter which draws inspiration from 2K's XCOM series in terms of gameplay, but takes place entirely on a 2D plane. The gameplay revolves around the player and the enemy taking turns tactically positioning their characters around the map and attacking strategically with a myriad of different weapons and abilities. Aside from your character's guns, most items that you can equip onto your character can only be used once per mission, and that includes healing items, which makes tactical placement around the map very important, as one wrong turn can lead to your character being destroyed for the rest of the mission. Character item slots are also limited to 3 per Steambot, making decisions before the mission just as important as decisions during the mission. The game, while not unfair, is pretty challenging. Enemy AI is very adept at understanding their win conditions, and often thinks a few moves ahead, targeting your weak or flanking characters instead of your tank. Taking your time and thinking about your moves before they happen is definitely a must. While Steamworld Heist is a turn-based game, execution plays a big role in it. Characters don't automatically shoot or miss opponents. There is no RNG or hit percentages at play aside from critical hits, which don't do that much extra damage. You have to aim and you have to shoot. Hitting Hail Mary long shots or a series of deflections into a headshot are some of the most satisfying gameplay mechanics that I've experienced in a turn-based tactical shooter. For the most part, the maps in the game are randomly generated. This leads to near infinite replayability and helps mix it up a bit when you're stuck and need to grind, but can lead to some small inconsistencies in terms of level of difficulty for the same level. With that said, I've never been in a situation on a map where I felt like the layout was unfair. While this is an indie game, it's surprisingly long, almost to a fault. In order to grind most characters up to a level where they would be relevant to face the final boss, it took me 18 hours to finish it. And while you have plenty of items, weapons, and abilities to unlock in the game, the core gameplay loop remains enough the same that it got a bit tedious and overstayed its welcome towards the end. Still, I'm sure the game would have been completed faster if you only used 3 to 4 characters instead of the full roster like I did. Steamworld Heist combines deep tactical gameplay, smart enemy AI, and fun maps to great effect, and while it's a little too long for its own good, the gameplay is still very solid. The gameplay for Steamworld Heist gets an 8 on 10. Image and Form have delivered yet another hit in the Steamworld series. They continue to explore new genres with every game they make, and each title they create is a solid addition to that genre. Steamworld Heist is no exception. Overall, Steamworld Heist gets an 8 on 10.